Are you okay in there?
Huh?
Are you okay in there?
I'm moving heavy paper.
Okay. As long as you're alive and happy and good.
If I'm grunting, I'm alive.
Okay. Hello friends, my name is Shayla and today I'm here to wrap up the reading month of June for you. Typically I do a first half of the month wrap up and a second half of the month wrap up, but I did a couple of different things through the month of June, so I didn't end up doing a mid-month wrap up. But I did film 2 other wrap ups for things for my reading this month. So I've got manga readathon wrap up where I read 21 volumes of manga in a week. Definitely go check that out if you're interested in manga. And then I also had my husband pick 7 books for me to read. I wrapped those up in a separate video, so those will not be included in this video. So if you want to check those out, I will have them linked down below for you, so definitely go and give them a look when you're ready. The other things that I've read, I've got 10 physical books, a couple of ebooks, a couple of them ARCs, and then I've got 7 volumes of manga, 3 of those from the same series, so really like 5 that we'll talk about. I'll save the manga for the end, and we'll do the novels and the ebooks first. Let's actually start with the ebooks, shall we? So the first one I want to talk about is an e-arc that I received via NetGalley, and that is Beast, A Tale of Love and Revenge. I gave this book 2 stars. This is supposed to be a revenge-based Beauty and the Beast story. Trigger warning for rape. I did not enjoy this book. I do not like how it handled the rape situation. I feel like they poo-pooed all over one of my favorite fairy tales. I did not enjoy this book. The writing in it wasn't that bad, and there were parts of the story that I did enjoy. But in general, I cannot recommend this book, and I'm very sorry. But in general, you know, it's just nothing was handled correctly, and I found it very... I'm trying to think of words other than bad and stupid. But yeah, anyways, plain and simple, I didn't enjoy it, and I can't recommend it to you guys. The next e-arc that I received, again via NetGalley, is Pretty Waiter Girls. This is by Greg Aldridge. In this one, it's essentially a mystery with steampunk elements to it. I feel like it was pretty average. It was fair. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I gave this 3 stars. Again, I found some enjoyment in it, but I felt like there wasn't enough truly steampunk elements for me. I mean, the setting was right, and there were elements of the steampunkness to it, but yeah, it just wasn't quite enough for me on this one. The other e-arc that I received, this was through a Parliament Publishing House, and that is Between the Sea and Stars. This is a mermaid-based fantasy stories. You're dealing with siren lore and mermaid lore, and I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. This is the first in a new series. This is by Chantal Guillory, or Gadori? Gadori? I don't know. Anyways, I will leave a link to where you can pick this up down below. It is available now. The other 2 come out in July. But Between the Sea and Stars was definitely worth a read. It was pretty gruesome, honestly. It was really good. There's a vlog where I talk about it pretty extensively, so I will leave that linked for you. I might have even included it in the Husband Chooses My TBR wrap-up. I don't remember. But either way, I will leave the vlog linked for you at least so you can check out more of my thoughts there. I talk a little more in depth with it in the vlog. So that's it for the e-arcs. Let's jump into physical books. So at the tail end of last month, I read The Winter's Kiss and really enjoyed it, and immediately went on to binge the rest of the series. I read The Winter's Crime and The Winter's Kiss in the beginning of the month, and I ended up really enjoying my read of this series. The first 2 books got 4 stars. The Winter's Kiss got 4.5 stars from me. I really enjoyed how this story wrapped up. This is very much a politically charged, low magic fantasy. There's little magic elements through it, but it's not going to be this big, complex magic system. So if you're intimidated by those, but you really like contemporary stories, maybe try this series. But in general, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the politics, and I just ended up really enjoying my read of the series as a whole. I left them on my shelf for far too long, and so I took the opportunity when I had it and the interest to just binge the entire series, and I don't regret doing that. I really enjoyed it, and yes, I have the pretty covers, not the new covers, so... Anyways, if you guys have been interested in this series at all, I highly suggest picking it up because I really enjoyed my read of it. Next up is my most recent read. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but that is Child of the Prophecy by Juliet Marillier. This is book 1 that I read for Tome Topple, so I will talk about it more in my Tome Topple wrap-up, but this is the 3rd book in the Seven Waters series. I'm doing the Read Seven Waters read-along with April over April Sarah. As you guys know, she's usually linked down below, so check her out. Because if you haven't, shame on you. But I ended up really enjoying this 3rd installment and giving it 4.5 stars, so definitely give it a read. Next up is a book sent to me by Forever Romance Books, and thank you again to Forever Romance for always being so willing to work with me and hook a girl up with some free books. And that is It Takes Two by Jenny Holiday. This is book 2 in the Bridesmaids Behaving Badly series. I do have a full review on this, so I will leave that linked for you. But I ended up giving this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I love Wendy and Noah and their chemistry. This is one of those enemies to lovers, couples with history, second chance at love trope kind of books, and I ate it up. I loved it. So if you're interested at all in books like that, definitely check this one out. And the smutty times are really good in this one. Next up is A Heart of Glass by Nicole Jacqueline. This is again sent to me by my friends over at Forever Romance. I ended up really enjoying this read. This is much more of a character-driven story rather than smutty romance times. There is a little bit of smut in here and the stuff you get is great, but this is definitely more of just a really good story about people. This is actually the 3rd book in a companion series. These all center around a family who weren't able to have children of their own, so they ended up fostering, adopting some, others came in and out through the house. So it's really interesting family dynamic that you're reading about in this one, and I just really enjoyed this. I'm planning on going back to read the other 2 that are out in this series, so yes, I am really excited to be doing that. The next step in this wrap-up is a little comic collection called Little Moments of Love, a Katana Comics collection. My husband and I have been following Katana Comics for a long time via Instagram, Facebook, wherever. I ended up following them through Instagram. This is a comic collection about a girl and her bearded boyfriend. Well, a woman and her bearded boyfriend. And they're just really fun little comics. I will leave her Instagram linked down below if you want to check that out. But if you haven't ever been exposed to Katana Comics, this is a really great way to become familiar with her work. So essentially this is just kind of about their everyday life, little things, little quirky things. And this is very indicative of how me and my husband live our life. When we first started reading a bunch of these, it's like, yep, that's me, yep, that's you, yep, that's me, yep, that's me. And I think she and I are very similar people. We'd probably really get along in real life. So anyways, this was really cute and adorable. I ended up giving this 4 stars. Being a follower of theirs, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a little more original content that hadn't already been shared through her social media. So that's the only real complaint I have about this. But other than that, it's great and I think you guys should check it out. Next up is a little novelette I was sent by the author, and that is Midnight's Eternal Prisoner by Matthew Pungator, is how I want to say his last name. I don't really know how to say it very well, so sorry, Matthew, I kind of botched that. I botched it in my haul, too. So, anyways, this is a little horror novelette. It's about 47 pages, I think, something close to that. Not quite 50 pages. And the writing in it's good. I do think it needed more content to flesh it out. I think if this had been the length of like the Wayward Children series or even A Court of Frost and Starlight, where we could have taken the time to care about our character a little bit more, I think that would have made this more enjoyable for me, because I wasn't really invested in what was happening to him because I didn't have anything established to care about him before. Essentially, you're just kind of dropped into the story and, just kind of muddle your way through. So like I say, I would have liked a little bit more backstory and a little bit more fleshing out of the story, and I think it could have done really well. As it is, I gave it 3 stars because I do think the writing is solid. Next up is a series that had been unfinished on my shelf for far too long, so I finally picked up the second book in the duology, and that is Daughter of Dusk. This is a Midnight Thief novel by Olivia Blackburn. I ended up really enjoying this series. I believe I gave both books 4 or 4.5 stars. I really ended up enjoying it. Definitely, this is a paranormal shapeshifter style fantasy. It also has a lot of great kingdom politics woven throughout the story. I really like the land. I like the world. I like the way the shapeshifting / magic kind of works in this one. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I highly suggest picking up this duology. Next up is a book that I technically read in May, but I forgot to talk about it in my May wrap-up, so we're going to talk about it here, and that is Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. As you guys might remember, I didn't really get along story-wise with his Greatcoat series. It just wasn't speaking to me very well, but I really enjoyed his writing. So I decided to pick up Spellslinger, which is a Western-style fantasy. It has a pretty complex magic system, so it's really hard to describe here. But it's definitely got a lot of family dynamics and political drama. Like, there is so much going on in this story. And I've got book 1 read. I have book 2 on my shelf that I plan on getting to soon, hopefully this month. But with Tome Topple, who knows what'll happen. But anyways, I really enjoyed this series. So if it sounds interesting to you at all, a Western-style fantasy, I highly suggest picking it up. Or if you liked his writing from the Greatcoat series, again, I like him as an author, so definitely pick it up and check it out. And last up in the novel portion of this wrap-up, we have Now I Rise by Kiersten White. This ended up being my buddy read with April over at April Sarah this month. And as you guys know, her channel should be linked. And this is book 2 in the... I'm not sure what they're calling this series. But this is the sequel to And I Darken. This is a Vlad the Impaler retelling, but it's gender swapped, so Vlad is a girl character instead of a man. And the first book was fair. I gave it like 3.5 or 4 stars. This one I gave 4.5 stars. I really ended up enjoying this sequel. I'm really anxious to get to the finale, which comes out in July sometime. So coming up here soon. Anyways, I really enjoyed my read of this. Some of the characters that I found super obnoxious in the first book have matured and grown up and aren't nearly as obnoxious in this second book. And I think that's why I ended up enjoying it a lot more. It's still pretty gruesome, not quite so jarring as it is in the first book. I do think just overall the pacing was better in this one. I really ended up enjoying this one significantly more. It's still not a 5-star read for me. It's just shy of that. So definitely check out this series if you've at all been interested. I really think it continues to grow and get better. Alrighty, so that is it for the novel portion of this wrap-up. I'm going to finish up with the few volumes of manga. I'd love for you to stick around because I really enjoyed all these series. But if it's not your thing, I will see you guys in the next one. So, first up, we're going to talk about the fact that Sweetness and Lightning Volume 10 came out in May when I wasn't buying books. So, I immediately picked it up in the beginning of June and binged through it. I love this series, and you guys know that. I think as long as it continues to get published, I will always enjoy it. But I adore the father-daughter dynamics in this series. I love seeing Tsumugi grow. Like, I just am really loving this story. There were some huge character strides in this particular volume, so I am really excited to see what he's doing with these strides as the series continues. Next up, we have book 1 in a series. I ended up reading volume 2 in Manga-Readathon, so if you want to hear my thoughts more on that, you can check that out. But this is Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. This is volume 1. This is essentially about 2 friends who are otaku. One is related to, I believe it's male based manga. And she like writes it, like she's very obsessed with it. And then the guy is a video game otaku, so he's obsessed with video games. Anyway, so this is about these 2 exploring a relationship to see if they can make it work even though they're otakus, and their interests are very much invested in the manga or in the otaku sides of themselves. So they want to see if they can reach outside themselves and have a relationship or not. I get the feeling that the guy has been very attracted to the girl for a very long time. And so this is just kind of his excuse to actually like have an opportunity to date her and stuff. Anyways, I really like the dynamic in this. I gave this volume 4 stars. I gave volume 2 4.5 stars. I think it improved on the story greatly. Anyways, I'm really enjoying my read through of this series. If it sounds interesting to you at all, I highly suggest picking it up. The next 2 are continuations of series that I've had for a while. So I picked up volume 4 of The Girl from the Other Side. There were some huge story plot developments in this volume, so I really ended up enjoying it. I am anxiously awaiting volume 5 with everybody else here in the US, and yes, I'm just really enjoying this. If you aren't familiar, this is about a little girl, you can see her in the candlelight there, it's hard to tell on camera, who is on the quote-unquote outside. So instead of living with all the other humans, she lives outside of the area that they've blockaded themselves in with this quote-unquote outsider, this dark, shadowy man. Anyways, so that's this huge mystery as to why she's on the outside, why hasn't she become an outsider like the rest of the humans, and all those kind of things. It's a really fun exploration, and I've really enjoyed it. Next up is volume 2 of Fuku Fuku Kitten Tales. If you like little kitten antics, you will love this manga series. I think it was really adorable. It's only 2 volumes. It completes in this one. And they're just really fun. This is from the creator of Cheese Sweet Home, which I have not read yet, but I plan on picking up soon. I really enjoyed the familiarity that grows between the elderly owner and Fuku Fuku. So anyways, I really enjoy this series. I think it's cute and adorable. If you like adorable kittens, definitely pick it up. If you're a dog person, you're probably not going to like it. So don't worry about it. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And I continued reading Princess Jellyfish, because again, once I went off my no buying ban, I had saved up quite a bit of money, so I went and bought the next 3 volumes. So volumes 3, 4, and 5 were read before Manga Readathon started. I have since completed the series. If you want to hear a full series review on this, let me know in the comments down below. But Princess Jellyfish is basically a coming-of-age story where we follow Tsukimi, who meets a beautiful stranger, and her life completely changes for her and her housemates, actually. So this is just a really fun series. It does center around fashion a bit, so if you're not a huge fashion person, this might not appeal to you quite so much. But it's mostly about people coming into themselves, coming into who they want to be in life. And I really enjoy this series, like 5 stars on all 3 of these. It was so good. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're new here and you stuck around the whole time, thank you so much. My name is Shay, and I would love for you to subscribe and hang out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite read of June was, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.